So I was ready for Visual Novel Maker ever since it was first teased. I'd used RPG Maker before and that thing was amazing.
It's almost like cheating!
So I mean, if those guys can make it so that creating your own game is so easy a 12-year-old could do it, then Visual Novel Maker was about to pave ways for new wannabe gamers like me. Like, this thing was going to change things. We were going to have babies writing screenplays of the year. Except not, because this software is a piece of shit. First, there's the bugs I've encountered, which have only been 2. The chapter names won't stay. Anytime I click on a scene, the chapter name for that scene will change so that it's named the same as another chapter I have in the project, so all my chapters end up having the same name. It doesn't matter how many times I try to rename it, the names just go back. It does only seem to be a visual glitch, I think. I mean, when I go into the system you can see that, yes, all the chapter titles are the same, but it's not breaking my game or anything, so I guess I'm fine with it. It's just really annoying. But once I get to the point where I have tons of chapters, it'll probably make things a whole lot confusing. Now, I only encountered this bug once, and I can't replicate it, but what happened is that I went to make a new project, and instead of showing a progress bar and it building up the files and everything, there was just nothing. And I thought that maybe I accidentally canceled it or something, so I went to make the project again, but it just told me that I couldn't because there was already a project with that name. So I went and checked the game's folder location and I could see that it was there, you know, the folder was made, but it wouldn't do anything when I would try to open it, probably because it just never really built or loaded anything into it in the first place. I don't know, that was something that fixed itself after a restart, so I guess it's not that big a deal. But here comes the real bad, ugly, big shit. I would not, absolutely not, call this user-friendly. This software isn't very good to beginners. There's so many just small quality of life changes that could be made, and in my opinion they should have been implemented from the start. It just really gets my blood going. For one, you can't double click folders. You have to click on the little arrow on the side for them to open. When you go to make a new folder or a record or anything, it doesn't let you automatically name it after it's been created. So you gotta make the folder, then right click properties, name it, then make the subfolder within that because I want this one to be the casual clothing sprite set, right click properties, rename it, and then make this one for when they're in their uniform clothing, right click properties, rename. It's so annoying. You can't import a large amount of folders or files into your project. Well, you can, but it's going to be a shit ton of work. Say I wanted to import these backgrounds. There's a lot, and it doesn't let you select multiple folders or even just a folder, but it does let you select multiple files. What if I wanted to keep them all nice and neatly organized like they are in here? That leads back to the whole slow folder creation thing. I gotta do this whole dance and song to make each and every single folder to keep the backgrounds nicely organized the way I want. I even tried making the folders right in the game's resource location so I wouldn't have to deal with all that, but it doesn't work. I saved, reloaded the project, it doesn't matter. It doesn't recognize anything you haven't imported or created directly within the software itself. I could do it with RPG Maker though.
Even beginners can create game maps like this!
I made my character folders and was ready to import the sprites, but I spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out why I couldn't add them. Why is everything in gray? I thought it was cool that it had this feature where you can start typing in the scene editor to find the command you wanted, but it's shint. If you type too fast and it can't keep up, it's weird, but it always misses the second letter in a word I type. Always only the second. The manual is supposed to be your best bet to learning how the software works, but it's still not perfect. It's the help manual, but there's plenty of things that it doesn't explain in beginner-friendly terms. There's this section right here. It's important to note that if a command is not tabbed inside a condition, it is considered that the condition ended, and any tabbed commands after it is treated like a comment. So, any tabbed commands after it, after the condition or after, I don't know what it is, I don't know what it means. I hate how in a conditional there's no way to tell what a command block is tabbed under other than seeing the indentation itself. It'd be easy if they made it like Tumblr, how it has those lines for every indentation, and you can see who reblogged what comment easily. What if someone had a really complicated scene, so they needed a lot of switches and checks and labels and all kinds of other shit under the conditional? They would be funked. Because you can't see shit. I wasted so much time trying to figure out how to get a command block to not indent. When I finally went to the manual for help, I couldn't believe that it was just the arrow keys. Now, I don't know, you might say that sounds obvious, or maybe I really was just stupid, but it still was something I struggled with, and it just really wasn't intuitive, for me at least. All the other shortcuts in this thing are control something, control shift something. I wasn't thinking to take my hand off the freaking mouse and use the arrow keys. I also didn't know the difference between call scene and change scene. The manual wasn't much help because it literally describes call scene as it calls the selected scene. I never found out what the difference was until I was looking in the support forums for something slightly unrelated, and I saw a dev describe the difference as call scene is temporary. It'll load a scene, then after everything in that scene plays out, it'll return back to where you called the original scene, and the story will just continue from there. And that blew my mind. Why wasn't anyone else able to describe it to me like that? Now, RPG Maker.
Make monsters appear!
RPG Maker is really cool because it does this thing where if you hover over stuff, it'll tell you information, like what this means, what that can do, tells you useful text codes you can use. It's all in there in the software. They make it easy. And that's why I had high hopes for Visual Novel Maker. I was expecting something like that. Something that made it easy for beginners, and I'm just so let down. There's plenty of Steam reviews that criticize aspects of the software that I either didn't think of or was lucky enough never to have experienced. There's this one that I think is the highest rated or something. This guy is able to express everything I feel perfectly. Visual Novel Maker in its current state should not have been released at all. It is embarrassing how many bugs there are, and this feels like an early release, not a finished product. I feel like I'm being scammed. Why would I pay a company $60 to help them bug test? They should be paying me to bug test and report all these bugs to them. Considering this is the most expensive visual novel software on the market, and it has more bugs than Tyranno Builder, which is $15, and Ren'Py, which is free, it's a bit absurd that they released the software in its current state. It is embarrassing, and it's disappointing as hell. I really hate to sound all uppity, but messing around in this software has actually made me wonder if these people responsible for it have ever actually even played a visual novel, like, ever. When it was first released, apparently you could only click on the text box to advance the text. Closing the backlog makes the text advance. You can't use the scroll wheel to open the backlog, and you can't scroll down to advance the text. I really want to love this software and I really want to support it, but I mainly just feel regret that I bought it and that I hit the 2-hour limit, so I can't get a refund. I think I'm going to go back to Tyranno Builder. I got it when it first came out, but I never stuck with it because in the beginning there were things like conditionals and variable work that were just too hard to do unless you learned to do their script. They've improved it. I was just too lazy to give it another go. But they actually worked and improved on their shit. It's easy to learn, actually easy, and you can still do things like branching storylines and multiple endings, and it's cheaper. If there's anyone affiliated with Visual Novel Maker or Enterbrain or Degika or whatever that happens to be watching this video and doesn't already want me dead, can you please elevate me to some mega high up support ticket to help issue a special one-time refund? Thank you!